Hey, welcome back to my channel. So today I thought I would film my what is a healthy balance in my opinion video. Now don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Just hit the subscribe button down below and click the notification bell, as I upload 1 to 3 times a week at the moment. So let's get into it. I wanted to make this video because, oh god, I can't even sit still. I wanted to make this video because people are asking, how do you have a healthy balance? What is a healthy balance? Like, what is that? Okay, so for me, having a healthy balance is having a healthy balance in all elements of your life, all relationships, everything you go to, everything you do. Now, I'm not the best person to say I have the best balance. To be honest with you, I'm not a balanced person. I'm either 0 on something or 100 on something. There's just no in between for my personality type. But I can try and advise people on what I think a healthy balance is. So let's just cover the general topics of healthy balance. So you have work, lifestyle, fitness, family, friends. It is a combination for me of social, mental, physical, and spiritual well-being. Now, I'm not saying you have to be sitting there praying if you're spiritual, or you have to be the best mental health and you have to have the best physique. No, a balance is where you have a good combination of all. Now, first of all, how do we get to a balance? You have to allocate time. Now, being organized is one of my, I would say, strengths, and it's what I thoroughly enjoy. Sorry, I just sat down after cleaning and I thought it'd be a good idea to film this video because I was just really passionate. I had a DM that said, Jasmine, what is your version of a healthy balance? And I was like, do you know what? I'm gonna make a video on this. So a healthy balance is generally, you have to be mentally healthy. Now, this is a debatable one because everyone deals with their own version of mental health, and obviously after what we've gone through this year, there is a lot more and upcoming, mental studies, and only 7% of the NHS funding is on mental health. I think that will increase now because of COVID and the situation we've been in. And it isn't necessarily the easiest thing to say, but I feel like you just have to make sure that you are aware. Being mentally healthy, you have to be aware. You don't necessarily have to be in the best place mentally, but you have to be aware of what you are working on. I personally have a lot I'm working on currently, and it isn't necessarily a bad thing. I think society has a stigma of how we speak about mental health, and it really, really, really needs to change. When you have a healthy balance in life, the mental part of it, elements of social can come into it. Social anxiety is massively increased since COVID. People are scared to go out. How we used to just pop down the shop, now people are having to wear masks in the UK. It is generally a generational shift. When you are mentally healthy, it is just, you aren't necessarily in the best place, but you are aware. So that is the first point. Then there becomes the social element. It is so important to interact with others, and obviously we were at a stage, earlier on this year where we were suppressed and we weren't allowed to see anyone, and now we're allowed to see everyone. They expect us to all go back to normal. It isn't like that. And I think people need to realize that you are allowed to feel like isolated or more reserved, or how you're feeling about things, because that's just normal and you're a human being. When you do have a physical healthy balance, it isn't necessarily just the physical exercise you do, but it's also the nutrition and things you put into your body, which make a contributing factor to how you feel physically. I know when I eat good, I feel good, and you aren't going to hear that enough, but that is generally the rule of thumb. When I eat good, nutritious food, I feel good. And I'm not saying I don't sit there at, the vegan dessert parlour I always rave on about in London, or I don't enjoy chocolate every night, or I don't say that, but that's a balance. With all positives, there's a negative. I'm not, just because I don't eat takeaway doesn't mean I sit down and I'm like, oh, we should be eating that chicken with that takeaway or that KFC or that McDonald's. If that's your version of a healthy balance, have it once in a while. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to have it every single night. Making sure you take time for your friends and your family is extremely important. Maintaining relationships and just talking to someone, even if it's good or bad, positive or negative, you literally can make such a difference through just talking to someone. You don't know if you pick up the phone to someone and they could be going through something really similar to you, and you would never know unless you had made that first initial interaction. It isn't necessarily the easiest to make that first initial interaction, but you think in your head, do you know what, I've just got to do it. I've just got to bite the bullet and do it. When I talk about a healthy lifestyle, for me, not, you know, if you want to drink alcohol every night, I wouldn't really advise it. But if you want to have one glass on the weekend, definitely go for it. Like, if that's what you enjoy, if that's your downtime or your social time or whatever, it is really important to make sure you have elements of them all. Making sure that you are implementing healthy work-life balance. Now, a lot more, I think it was a percentage of 50% of firms are moving to remote working. It is really hard to work from home. Now, I know with Jasmine Energy, I literally sit down like it's a work day, but establishing a separate room or a separate section, if you can, for your workspace, and then taking yourself out of that to the other workspace, I think is extremely important. Establishing guidelines. Now, I'm not necessarily one person that likes to take a long lunch break, but I'll eat while I'm working, which isn't necessarily optimum for nutrition, and I wouldn't advise it. But making sure that I do have that structure in the day of like 9 to 6 or 8 to 6, and kind of having the evening to myself is so important. And having a really, really healthy morning and evening routine as well, for me, so important. In the mornings, I get up and I literally have the nicest morning routine. And I am an awful sleeper. I have been an awful sleeper since COVID. I sleep maximum 3 hours in a block, and I have done for 5 or 6 months, and it's horrible to think. But what I do instead is I make sure that I have a really nice, relaxing evening routine where I think, do you know what, I've done what I can. For example, lighting a candle. The IKEA candles, by the way, the peach one. Oh, I love peach smells. Floral smells, bit of me, thank you. Making sure you have a really good evening routine that you look forward to, that's relaxing, that you unwind, that you turn your brain off. I say this, doesn't always happen to me, but you do try, and that's the main thing. There's a lot of studies that go on about sleeping in the same room as your phone and all of this, but you know, that's for another video, and let me know if you want that in the comments. But having a healthy balance in life is making sure you incorporate all of that. For example, for me, walking my baby Murphy is so important for me. Sometimes I dread it. Sometimes I think, oh, do you know what? I can't be arsed 7 days a week. Like, got to go walking for at least an hour. But once I'm out there in nature, it's so important. And in Dr. Chastit's podcast, he actually had a guest on there, which I can't remember the name of, unfortunately. But she was saying how if you go outside and you're stressed and you're working from home and you look at just hold my horses, look at nature. So for example, a leaf for 5 seconds, then touch it for 5 seconds or 5 deep breaths. It really calms you down. I thought I'd try it. So I went out, I was a little bit stressed with, you know, editing, filming. I had all these ideas, and when you're a creative sometimes, but also an operational, it can become very overwhelming because you've got like two opposites just counteracting at you. And I then realized, I was like, it actually worked. I went out in nature and it actually worked, and I was so surprised, and I was like, yes, something I learned from a podcast worked. Woohoo! Most of the things do. But let me know what you think is a healthy balance. I like to promote a lot of this over on my Instagram. Like, what is a healthy balance? What is a healthy balanced lifestyle? It isn't necessarily just your diet, but there's so many other things that come into it. Spiritually, I'm not saying you have to be sitting there praying. Just be spiritually aware of what you believe in life and what you stand for. And obviously the big, you know, movements that have happened recently has made people really, really passionate. And I think it's so nice to be passionate about something. Making sure you're spiritually aware if you are in touch with the faith, if you're not in touch with the faith. Just important to remember everything happens for a reason, and you might not see it now, but you will see it in the future. So yeah, no, I hope this YouTube video helped. It was just my thoughts and feelings on what is a healthy balance. So I hope to see you next time. Make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell, and also follow me on Instagram. But yes, thank you so much for watching.